6 a.m. and a kidnapping suspect is on the loose. Happening right now. Deputies are asking for your help in tracking down this man. And then new this morning, a look at the aftermath in Mississippi, one of several states slammed by tornadoes. You can see the video here. Residents are left spending Christmas Eve picking up the pieces. Good morning. We're glad you're with us on KRQE News 13 this morning on this Christmas Eve. I'm Adam Atchison. Crystal does have the morning off. It's, of course, Wednesday the 24th, and I know it's going to be a busy travel day for some. A lot of people have guests coming in. Others are heading out. Let's find out what the weather has in store for the next 24 hours or so. Here's Kristen Curry. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning, Adam. If you're staying within the state of New Mexico, whether you're traveling up to Taos or down to the south in Las Cruces, you really have nothing to worry about. We got lucky with that Christmas weather. Temperatures still cold, 21 degrees walking out the door here in Albuquerque, but notice the winds much calmer this morning, and that's how they're pretty much going to stay this afternoon. Temperatures statewide do show single digits up in the northern mountains right now, 3 degrees in Taos, teens and 20s scattered across the southern portions in Mexico. It's cold out there, but at least we're not looking at anything in the way of messy rain or snow. It'll be the sunshine all day long. Temperatures in the mid-30s by lunch. We climb into the low 40s a little later on today. The winds, as I mentioned, take a break today. They do come back tomorrow ahead of our next storm system. That holiday outlook does show that most of us will stay dry through Christmas, but the next storm system will make its way in to the northern New Mexico area come tomorrow night. So some of us might get a few hours of a white Christmas. I'll have details on that coming up in about 10 minutes.
Let's get it 2 minutes past the hour right now. And first this morning, people in the south are picking up the pieces after a devastating tornado swept through a couple of states. At least 4 people are dead this hour. Andrew Spencer takes us to the scene.
The storms left some heavily damaged buildings in rural Mississippi as high winds and tornadoes ravaged parts of the southeastern United States. At times, there were tornado watches and warnings in portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. The storms killed at least 2 people in this southern Mississippi county, leaving buildings in ruin and cutting off electricity. In nearby Jones County, another 2 people died when the storm destroyed their mobile home. Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant declared a state of emergency for the Jones and Marion counties, as well as other parts of the state affected by severe weather. The same storm system destroyed more than a dozen homes in this Louisiana town about 50 miles northeast of Baton Rouge. Power outages weren't uncommon, but no injuries were reported. Damage could be seen as far away as southern Georgia, where the storms had damaged several buildings in Valdosta. Here, too, people seemed lucky enough to have avoided any major injuries, but residents are left with plenty to clean up. Andrew Spencer, KRQE News 13 this morning.
And that same storm system is expected to cause travel trouble up and down the East Coast just in time for Christmas. Sony Pictures will release the movie The Interview After All. The studio announced the comedy starring Seth Rogen and James Franco will now be shown at 200 movie theaters across the country. The film follows a reporter and his producer who were sent to North Korea to do an interview with Kim Jong-un, but they're also hired by the CIA to take him out. This prompted cyber attacks and terror threats made by hackers with ties to North Korea. While the show will go on, the company says individual theater operators are responsible for making their own security arrangements. Sony's initial decision to pull the film came after major theater chains refused to show it. That opened the door for the hundreds of independent theaters that told Sony they do want to screen it, including the Guild and Nob Hill. Owners say they'll show the movie if Sony lets them there.
If your country is threatened by a Seth Rogen comedy, you got bigger problems. It's a freedom of expression. It's kind of an outrage that a movie like this could be seemingly censored because of a threat from another country.
And we spoke with the Guild last night. So far, they say no word from Sony. They're going to keep us updated. Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin just announced that Sony is allowing him to play the film at his Santa Fe theater. And just this morning, we learned that the Star Max in Deming will also have a 7 p.m. showing on Christmas Day. There are new details this early hour in the search for a man who police say sexually assaulted a jogger on a popular Albuquerque trail.
Where she was taken by surprise and originally sexually assaulted, and then forcefully marched westbound to the dam right behind me where she was sexually assaulted a second time.
This all happened, police say, Sunday evening on a trail near Juan Tabo near Spain. Police say the attacker hit her over the head with something. They say the woman, who's in her 30s, noticed the man before the attack and sort of had an uneasy feeling.
Trust your instincts. This victim told our detectives that she originally saw who ended up being her eventual attacker. She didn't have a good feeling about him, but she didn't change her action. She didn't turn around, she didn't go another direction, and so her initial feelings were spot on.
This woman did provide a description that led to a sketch that police released, and they say the attacker may be a student named Craig, but they would not say if that information came from the victim. APD has upped its patrols in the area. Developing right now, San Juan County Sheriff's deputies need your help in tracking down a man who they say kidnapped and beat a woman. According to the victim, 27-year-old Brandon Lee approached her outside her Kirtland home on Saturday demanding money. She says he hit her with brass knuckles when she told him she didn't have any. Lee then allegedly forced her to drive to an ATM and then attacked her again. The woman told investigators she later jumped from a moving car to escape and then was run over. If you know anything, you're asked to call sheriff's deputies. 6:06 right now, the former Navy SEAL who claims to have killed Osama bin Laden is now under investigation. Robert O'Neill says he fired the bullet that killed Osama bin Laden. But now the Navy confirms it's investigating whether he revealed classified information. The Navy did not explain the nature of the allegation or what information might have been leaked. O'Neill, though, has given numerous interviews and says he has taken steps not to divulge classified information or compromise SEAL tactics. The White House is confirming this morning that Vice President Joe Biden will attend the funeral of one of the police officers killed in a weekend ambush in Brooklyn. He'll be accompanied by his wife, and the family of the second officer killed in that same ordeal will make funeral arrangements, they say, after arriving from China. New and developing this morning, former President George H.W. Bush is in the hospital. A spokesman says Bush was taken to a Texas hospital after experiencing shortness of breath. Right now, he's being held for observation. Bush is 90 years old. He served as the nation's 41st president. You might remember he was hospitalized in November 2012 with bronchitis, but he recovered quickly after just a couple of months in that situation. The deputies did not think he was going anywhere, but this morning an injured suspect is on the run again. And new this morning, a look at the aftermath in Mississippi, one of two states slammed by tornadoes in the last 24 hours. And residents are spending Christmas Eve picking up the pieces. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Adam Atchison. Crystal's off this morning. It's Wednesday, middle of the week, December 24th, of course. Hope you're having a good Christmas Eve. Let's find out about travel weather today and if you're going to have any tie-ups as you head out or expect family in. Here's Kristen Curry.
And good morning and Merry Christmas Eve. Not a bad day ahead of us at all, especially if you're traveling in and around New Mexico, you're good to go. We have a mostly clear sky this morning. Those clear skies will stick around this afternoon. Temperatures, though, going to take a little bit to warm up. Right now, 21 degrees walking out the door here in Albuquerque. It's much colder up in the higher terrain. Taos looking at 3 degrees. Even the teens and 20s to the south. TRC 27, but Ruidoso coming in at 16 degrees right now. Later this afternoon, we're talking low 40s, a lot of good sunshine and light winds. But our next storm system does look to creep across the state line come tomorrow night, and we have snow back in the extended forecast. I'll have more details on that coming up in about 10 minutes.
Kristen, we'll see you then 6:32. Right to the headlines. A chase suspect is on the run again this morning after escaping the hospital. Deputies say 30-year-old Jason Smith just walked out. He first landed himself in the hospital after causing this scene 2 weeks ago. Deputies say they were pulling over a woman for driving a stolen truck. Smith then drove up behind them, they say, in another stolen vehicle and rammed several patrol cars before speeding away. The next day, he tried ramming BCSO cruisers again when they spotted him on I-40, according to authorities, and then crashed into a ravine. BCSO says doctors told them that Smith was too injured to even sit up and that he would need weeks of rehab. So deputies only checked on him periodically. But BCSO says he did get away yesterday morning, then stole a van and led UNM police on a chase they had to call off when his driving got too dangerous. Albuquerque police then found the stolen van abandoned near I-25 and Cole. An injured inmate escaping custody while in the hospital is not uncommon. In fact, we've reported on at least 7 of those cases in Albuquerque over the past 4 years. We're staying on top this early hour of the investigation into a deadly shooting at an Albuquerque apartment complex. That happened yesterday afternoon on Montgomery near Carlisle. Police say the victim died at the hospital, but officers are still trying to sort everything out. At this point, they're not saying the victim's name or if they have any suspects in mind. 6:33 right now. An agreement has been reached between the city of Albuquerque and the state over an incentive program to keep police officers on the force. The city is offering up to $12,000 a year to APD officers who postpone their retirement. That's to help with the officer shortage. But the Public Employees Retirement Association, or PARA, essentially said bonuses cannot boost a pension. That would undo a lot of the incentives for officers to stay on. At an emergency hearing yesterday, the city and PARA came to an agreement, though. The extra pay will be considered salary as long as the city keeps paying those officers the extra money until they do decide to retire.
We were able to talk those issues through in a way that perhaps we haven't been able to do so before today, and that allowed us to come to an agreement that I think both parties can live with.
APD's goal is to get back up to 1,000 officers on the force. The department is more than 100 officers short of that goal today. A lot of people are traveling today for the Christmas holiday, and it's been costing drivers a lot less in recent weeks. We did some checking and found gas prices as low as $1.93 for a gallon of unleaded. AAA says New Mexico's average for a gallon of regular is one of the cheapest across the country, and these prices should last through the holidays. Barring any problems with oil production, some of the experts say prices could drop even more by next week. So if you want the lowest gas prices in your area, we are tracking them for you right now online at KRQE.com. You can use the gas tracker there. Just click on the More tab. Check this out. The cost of natural gas is also heading down. That price has dropped more than 30% in just over a month. If you use natural gas, that means you're going to have lower bills in coming months. Experts say a spike in supply is behind that price drop. Today, emergency workers in Mississippi plan to survey the damage caused by storms that hit the South yesterday, killing at least 4 people in the process. And now the governor has declared a state of emergency for 2 of its counties. At least 50 others were injured in all of this. The storm did a lot of damage. It flipped over cars, knocked out power to thousands of homes and businesses. Meanwhile, that same storm system is expected to hit residents along the East Coast in the coming days. New and developing this hour, police in Atlanta are investigating a movie theater shooting that they say sent 2 people to the hospital. That happened just after midnight. Police say a man was shot and that a woman there also took a hit, being grazed by a bullet in the leg. Both are said to be stable. According to witnesses, it all started over an argument. Police are still trying to identify and find a suspect. Well, the FBI now calls a threat to blow up a Mississippi River bridge unsubstantiated. According to an FBI bulletin, an ISIS operative living in the U.S. was ordered to blow up that bridge, activating other ISIS terrorists here within the country. Some 56,000 commuters use the bridge each day connecting Tennessee and Arkansas. And while investigators say there's not enough evidence that a threat was actually made here, local authorities and the FBI are keeping a very close eye on that area. Well, some last-minute Christmas shoppers at a Wisconsin mall sort of faced a larger crowd than they expected after protesters showed up and staged what they called a peaceful die-in. About 50 people took to the center of the Mayfair Mall and began chanting and lying down on the floor. That led to brief lockdowns of several stores. This protest was over a decision not to charge a former police officer there in a deadly shooting of an unarmed man. The officer told police that he fired at the suspect, or after the suspect grabbed his baton and hit him with it. That officer has since been fired for not following protocol. One of the biggest names in coffee makers is recalling some of its machines today. Keurig is recalling 7 million of the Mini Plus single-serving machines after getting reports of people being burned. These machines were made between December 2009 and July of this year. Its model number is K10. The company says the machines can overheat and spray water during brewing. Consumers can contact Keurig for a free repair on all of this. Listen to this in just hours, about an hour actually. Comfort Dental opens to offer free dental care at all of its offices across the state. It's part of the 31st annual Care Day, where all of the offices offer free dental care. The doors opened about 7:30 this morning. It's a first-come, first-served basis. Last year, more than 5,000 people were seen by dentists as part of that program. By the way, we've got information online at KRQE.com if you want to get more details about the free dental today. Rio Rancho police and fire crews, look at this. They're armed with a different tool. It's pretty cool. These stuffed animals are on the force now. They were donated so that officers and firefighters can give them to kids when they respond to a crisis situation, like a car accident or a fire. A little bit of comfort in the midst of all that. I'm sure it's welcome.